Okay, so sticking along the same thought here of polyatomic ions and brackets, okay, we're going to go over a couple of these for balancing purposes. So we'll start with R, okay, where we have hydrogen phosphide, okay, and we have ammonium oxide, or hydroxide, sorry, reacting, and they're forming water and ammonium phosphide. Okay, so we've got to balance this whole thing. My biggest number is either the 3 on the hydrogen or the 3 on the ammonium. Doesn't really matter which one I start with. Okay, so I'm just going to start here. I've got 3 hydrogens over here. How many do I have here? 1. Remember, that H that's in OH comes from over here. Okay, I don't want to consider that when I'm balancing it yet, okay, because it's going to be balanced from here. All right, so I'm going to need to put a 3 right here. When I do that, that gives me 3 hydroxides, which then I can go over here and balance with a 3. Everybody follow me there? Okay, that gives me now 3 ammoniums. That's NH4. Are there 3 over here? Yeah, okay. 1 phosphate over here, 1 phosphate over here, and we're balanced. But you know, it's important to keep track of where did all the parts of each compound come from. And I mentioned this yesterday. Anytime I have hydroxide combining with combining with hydrogen to form water, I write it like this so that I can trace where the hydrogens are, okay, so I don't get them confused on a question like that. Okay, so U is an example of a question where they didn't do that, and it becomes confusing because it's harder to track where the hydroxides and the oxygens and the hydrogens are coming from. Okay, so if I see a question like that, there's nothing wrong with doing this. I scratch it out, I write water that way. I'm still going to get the right balancing numbers regardless of how I write it, but it's easier for me at least to track where everything came from. Okay, so if I look in here, I'm going to balance the hydroxides first. I've got 2 on the reactant side with the calcium. So I'm going to go back over here and make sure I have 2 on this side. That gives me how many hydrogen? 2. So I'm going to go back over here and make sure I have 2 hydrogen on the reactant side. That gives me 2 chlorines, and there's 2 chlorines over here in the products already. 1 calcium in the products, 1 calcium in the reactants, and the rest is balanced. Okay, but it's really important to kind of keep track of where that stuff all comes from. All right, and the other one I wanted to look at in terms of balancing was W. Okay, we have lead 2 nitrate reacting with potassium sulfide. Okay, those are both solutions, aqueous solutions, and they are going to produce lead 2 sulfide, which is a yellow precipitate, okay, and potassium nitrate. So if I'm looking at these, I'm going to balance probably the nitrates first. They've got a 2 on them here. Okay, and again, here's the importance of brackets. I know this 2 applies to everything in the bracket. There's 2 nitrates. So I've got to go over here and make sure I have 2 nitrates. And when I do that, it gives me the 2 potassiums that I have on the reactant side. 1 sulfur, 1 sulfur, 1 lead, 1 lead. That's the only number I need to put in that one. Okay? But again, it's the importance of brackets and allowing me to track where everything goes. Okay, so something to think about, something to keep in mind. Okay, a few reminders here. Okay, on Monday, we're going to be in the lab. We're going to be working with chemicals. Okay, so please make sure you wear appropriate footwear that day. Okay, not anything that's open on the top, so that if anything spills, it doesn't spill onto the top of your foot, but onto your shoe instead. Okay, make sure that if you've got long hair, you've got something to tie it back with. If you're wearing a hoodie, that the drawstrings are tucked in or tied up and tucked in, okay, so that they can't come out and get into anything. Okay, because you saw how I make the solutions. I measure very, very carefully. Okay, I make them strong. I just dump stuff in until I'm like, yeah, that looks good. Okay, because I want the reactions to be very obvious for you. I don't want you to miss anything. Okay, on Monday, some of those reactions are not going to have, there's going to be one that has no visible signs. You have to be on the lookout for other signs of a chemical reaction for that one. It looks like nothing happens. Okay, looks like it. Right, so all kinds of things to be aware of and watching for. Tomorrow, we'll be using the Chromebooks to get our pre-lab stuff done, so make sure you're ready for that tomorrow. And if you can all mask up and wipe down your desks, sanitize your hands, all that good stuff, that'd be great.